What's up, guys? I'm coming back to you with another video, and today we're going to do something a little different, something actually pretty fun. Today we are going to be reminding AAA game studios what makes video games fun and ultimately makes them money. Because playing Black Ops 3 for such a long time now has really made me remember what it means to have fun in a video game. And yeah, we're actually gonna make our own game. I know it's crazy. We're gonna make our own foundation for a game. Here we go. All right, what makes games fun? There are really a few core pillars of fun, and this doesn't even really rely for just or work just for games. It can work for basically everything in life. But I'm gonna dumb this down as much as I possibly can so these AAA studio executives understand this. The first pillar of fun is power. No one wants to play a game, especially a PvP or a PvP VE or PvE game, and feel weak. Another fun pillar is reward. Players want to actually feel like they're accomplishing something and not wasting their time, which is the next pillar of fun. Players don't want to waste their time. They don't want to feel like they're wasting valuable time. And the last, arguably fourth pillar is challenge. No one wants to play a game that's so easy to the point where they feel like they're wasting their time, right? And vice versa. So difficult to the point where they feel like they're wasting their time. Now, what's not fun? Great question. We're going to cover that here, and it's actually very common sense, but these execs don't seem to understand that. So I'll really highlight this. There you go. See that? Not fun. This is what you do not want to do. Okay. 3 pillars of not fun. The first one being less rewards. Yes, it may shock you guys, but a lot of players don't like to spend money for skins and for DLC. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to have all of your DLC and skins behind the paywall, but it certainly does help. And another thing that's not fun is having little power. In other words, nerfing all of the meta stuff or all of the fun stuff and making everyone play all the non-fun stuff. And then, a very unfun thing is zero to little creativity. People don't want to play the same game over and over again. You have to spice it up. You have to add a little something something, you know? You gotta be that in a bag of chips, right? And kind of tying into what's fun, people want a challenge too. It's not fun to have zero challenge. There needs to be some sort of difficulty there to prevent the player from getting all of this really cool stuff. Now, here we're gonna make our fundamental game, all right? We have a few different ways we can go. We can make a PvP game, or we can make a PvE centered game. Well, you could also do both, but we'll touch back on that later. Which one do we want to be? Now, here's where our decision is very important because it branches off into a few different aspects. Do we want a PvP game that's competitive or a relaxed PvP game? Or would we like a PvE game, which typically has a bit lower player bases, but is a bit more relaxed? Now, we could also do a mixture of both, but just for the sake of the video, we're gonna go ahead and stick with PvP just to kind of, you know, keep it a little bit easier to understand. You gotta be slow with these execs. Anyway, this is going to be our game. We know it's a PvP game, and we know we want it to be competitive and relaxed, a mixture. Now, here's the problem. We need a theme for our game, you know? What is our game? What makes our game stand out? What is the overall objective for our game? What's going to keep players coming back? What do they need to do to get their rewards, right? Well, there's a few. Actually, your creativity is honestly the limit. It could be a zombie-related PvP game, an alien, like, invasion-related PvP game, kind of like Helldivers, except with PvP. It could be a typical shooter. The list really just goes on and on and on. Your mind is the limit. Your imagination is the limit. You can come up with anything. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this real quick because, just for the sake of the video, keep it simple. We're gonna go with a zombie survival PvP game. Think kind of like DayZ mixed with, I don't know, maybe a little bit of Tarkov, right? Now that we know what our game is going to be and what the fundamental aspects of the game are, we can now focus on the gameplay loop of our PvP zombie survival game. What do zombie players love? Well, let's see. How do we make this game fun? How do we appeal to all of those zombie players out there? How do we hook them with the gameplay loop? Well, what's the number one thing you think of when you think of a zombie survival TV show or a movie? Loot. Loot is the number one thing that can make or break a player's day. We need loot. The second thing is exploration. It's a zombie survival game for a reason. We need big, explorable, lived-in areas. I don't know how to spell that. I messed it up. Who cares? Anyway, the last thing is the actual PvP itself. Loot, exploration, and PvP. This is just the fundamental. We could go a bit crazier, but a part of this loot would be weapons such as guns. Let's see, ammo for said guns. There would be clothing. You could find better clothes and gear and tactical stuff, just like DayZ. It could also include meds to heal yourself after those PvP encounters. It could be food. After all, it is a survival game. And honestly, again, the list just is your imagination. It's almost endless. As for the guns, though, how do we want to make those fun? How do we want to differentiate between other games? Well, in this case, fun could mean power. In other words, the guns could be pretty realistic, and that could be one of the aspects of our potential players like about this game. All guns are basically a one-shot kill to a certain extent, right? Unless you're wearing armor and stuff, which is where the clothing comes in. But ultimately, this could be fun. This could be a fun, challenging zombie survival game. And now for the clothes. What makes the clothes fun? We want to give players the ability to have either super realistic, camouflaged clothing, or if they want, they could run around butt naked with a fanny pack, just like in DayZ. Super colorful, super goofy looking, and they could be whatever they want, right? That's what makes the clothing of a game fun. The look of a character, really. Another thing we should talk about is the actual ammo of the game, because don't get me wrong, having one ammo type for every gun is very easy and very simple to implement. However, if we have multiple different ammo types for the same gun, which ultimately change how to use it, this would allow players to play with their favorite weapons in different ways. I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit wider so you guys can see. So, different ammo types. That would be extremely fun. But now that we have the basic understanding of a game here, what we're missing is a long-term goal. This is what would differentiate our game from games like DayZ, because in DayZ there really isn't any long-term goal. Now, there are a few different possibilities. Number one, our game could have a hideout system, or a loot hoarding system, or a safe base area, similar to games like Tarkov. That way players could kind of extract in, stuff like that, get their favorite loot and get out. Or we could have a social hub type of area where after players get a certain amount of money or kills or something, they can ultimately prestige and get rewards for their prestige, and then go to the social area and brag about it, right? That's also another possibility. But odds are that alone probably won't keep players staying around. So for a third possibility, we could also have skins or story-related content unlocked through playing the game. Both would ideally be better, because games like Deep Rock Galactic, you can unlock skins just by playing it, but ultimately that does get a little boring after a while. And yeah, now that we know what makes games fun, I honestly hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did leave out a few different talking points, such as challenge. Some players prefer, more realistic, gritty, challenging games, and other players prefer a bit more of a relaxed thing. But this video was really just to showcase how actually easy it is to come up with a fun game. You don't have to be some kind of AAA super ultra mega dev to come up with just a basic fundamental premise for a fun game. There was a lot of you know, nitty gritty details I kind of skipped over just to keep the video from being over half an hour long. But honestly, let me know what you guys think. I mean, the reason why I've been playing so much Black Ops lately is because although there really is no crazy end goal, right? There is a prestige system, and the prestige system, for me personally, is what keeps me playing this game. It resets my progress and it rewards me, right? I get a prestige token, I unlock a weapon forever, and I keep going. And it's something so simple like this that you almost never see it anymore, which is insane. That's why games like Battlefield 6 are doing absolutely astronomical right now, because it's not trying to do anything new. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's simply giving players what they've wanted for the past 2 decades, which is a game that does not preach to them, a game that doesn't try to alter history or add, you know, some kind of politics into it. You just play the game. That's it. You know, there's no insane celebrity cameos. There's no ridiculous looking gun effects. The game is aiming to be a realistic shooter sim. And in reality, the majority of soldiers are men. And because of that, most of the soldiers in that game, I'm pretty sure, almost all of, if not all, are men. Right? We don't have Zac Efron running around on the battlefield. We don't have Peter Griffin, you know, slide canceling and bunny hopping. Right? And another aspect that makes games like Battlefield 6 so fun is the fact that you can earn your skins. You don't have to buy them, right? There's no battle pass yet. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still time for them to screw up this game, but you know, they actually managed to hit a home run, and hopefully they don't mess it up. But I'm hoping videos like this and games like Battlefield 6 really open the eyes of these devs, because players, I think I can say safely as a whole, we're tired of battle passes. We're tired of paying to have, you know, a skin in a game. You know, it'd be different if it was a licensed skin, but just having decent skins in game, you know, why do we have to pay for that? Why can't we earn a skin that the artist team made for the game, right? It's original content. Why do we have to pay for it? Why can't there be a way to earn it in game? You know? And yeah, honestly, in conclusion, I know I missed a few different aspects here, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. I mean, making a foundation for a game really isn't that difficult. And like I said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to make a successful game. I would say my idea for that zombie survival game could easily be a double A game, you know? The graphics, they don't have to be insane. They could be okay, you know? Games like Project Zomboid come to mind immediately. That game is one of my favorite games of all time. I don't play it that much, but it is one of my favorite games because of how incredibly realistic it is. And the graphics literally look like they're 8-bit, right? You know, it looks like you're playing an old retro Doom in 3D. But the point is, if the game's good enough, people aren't going to care about graphics. And that's another thing that these companies need to understand. Graphics, ultimately, in the end, while they are important to a certain extent, a lot of players are going to care more about the actual core gameplay loop and the rewards of the gameplay than the actual graphics themselves, you know? So, yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. I actually really enjoyed making this video. It's a bit of an experimental video of mine, but man, I had a lot of fun making it. And yeah, I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching. Without further ado, peace, friends. I'll see you all in the next one. God bless.